Today we are going to go through how to sign up for a new account with Polli and then how to use that account to create flight plans or waypoint missions with the Sony Airpeak drone. So first step, go to pollygps.com, sign up for a new account, hit agree. I've already done this. We'll click over here, we'll verify our email, set our password. Let's name our organization Polli. You can always change this later. Let's ask us to log in quick. And then we should get started with our Polli account. The first thing we do have a sample site that comes with all created accounts. We can actually show you how to do the flight plan with Airpeak right from here. So all the flight planning stuff, everything is free. You don't have to have a pay account to get in here. You can actually just sign up for an account and start planning missions with either DJI, Phantom 4, Mavic 2s, or something like the Sony Airpeak. Today I'm going to show you how to do a flight plan with DJI and with Airpeak. So we'll go into our sample site. It's over in Montrose. Let's check out our flight plans. We just have the one. It's the area in orange. That's our actual flight plan. The area in blue up here is the site area. So we'll click on this and then take it to our flight planning screen, which should look pretty familiar with the most. Each white dot indicates an image that will be taken during the flight, and we can adjust how this will look. We'll open up our advanced, but just to note, en route is how high or the altitude the drone will fly to and from its first and last waypoint. Our speed is what the drone will attempt to keep while keeping the correct area between images, which was based on the coverage right below. So I'll show you how that works. As we get higher, we're going to have more images taken. So we don't do overlap. We're not trying to create orthomosaics or 3D models. We're just doing samples. So 35 is a little high for us. We're going to kick it down. We'll do 30 for this. Hit done. Our mission altitude. So for the DJI Phantom 4 Pro V2, we recommend 30 feet. That will get us our necessary GSD. We'll get a little bit different for the Sony Airpeak. We'll flip that in a second. Our wind direction, best practice, let's fly with the wind to our side, not a headwind or tailwind. You can see how the image locations will adjust as we change this. For path overlap, we're going to leave this custom. We don't need to mess with this right now. We do have some other features when it comes to the DJI side. We do terrain hugging. So when we do this, we actually take into account the elevation of each image taken. So we'll actually adjust the height as the drone flies. And obstacle avoidance, we can turn this on and off through DJI's SDK. But to get over to the Sony side, let's just close this up. So now if we want to do flight planning for the Airpeak, we're going to go click here. We're going to switch to Airpeak mode. And you'll see now all of a sudden we have a lot less images. The main reason for that is that we're flying much higher because we have a more powerful camera here. So our en route, we're going to kick it up to 140. Our speed, I'm going to recommend kicking that down. We'll go 15 miles an hour. Our coverage, 25 is great. If you click on advanced, we can see our mission altitude, which is the height at which the pictures will be taken. So 120 with, we're going to switch our cameras here. So we can fly at 120 foot with the A7R with the 55mm lens and still get our needed GSD. Wind direction, same thing with DJI. We just want to keep the wind on our side. Overlap we'll ignore. And terrain hugging we don't need for this particular flight. So now we have a waypoint mission planned for the Sony Airpeak. So now we have to get it out of Polli and over into the Sony ecosystem. And to do that, we're going to hit download. So you can see right away we kicked out a KML. We're going to use this to upload into Basecamp. And just one thing to note, we have this little pop-up and says, when you are uploading this into Base on Sony, make sure we click the Do Not Adjust button. We don't want to add any hovering to all of our waypoints. We just want the drone to keep moving. So we're going to hit Do Not Adjust when we do that. All right, so the next step after we download that KML out of Polli is to bring it over to base.airpeak.sony.com. which is the Sony web app where we'll upload that KML. It'll turn into a mission inside the Sony system, and then you can sync that with Sony Flight on your iPad. Then you'll actually be able to fly in the field. So you can see I'm already logged in. I have a project created in Montrose, Minnesota. It's kind of the same setup as Polli, where you have projects which have flights, same as Polli. So we're going to navigate to our project. Right now we have no flight plans in here, so let's add a new one. And it's as simple as adding a mission, which is over here on the right hand side. And then we're going to come down to import file for a timeline mission, which has our KML option. So navigate to our KML, hit open. And remember, we saw this pop up when we were exporting out of Polli. We're going to remember we want to say do not adjust. Give this a second. I think it's a little bit to the southwest. Yep. And there is our flight plan from Polli, but now it is in Sony's format. So you can see Sony does things a little bit differently. It's based on timestamps, where Polli does things by waypoint and GPS information. So it looks a little bit different out here, but up here you can see start point, end point, and then we'll have our en route to and from. All that information that we created in Polli is in here in Airpeak Base. So yeah, once you have this done, you're going to go ahead and hit save. You can name the mission however you like. We'll call it and then as this gets saved, it's going to get synced into the cloud. And then if you power on your iPad while it's connected to Wi-Fi, maybe give it a minute or two, but you should get a sync relatively quick. And then that flight plan will be on your iPad, which then you can hook up to your Airpeak S1 controller, and then you're flying waypoint missions.